Please don't sound stupid.
He's the doctor.
What did I just say?
He's a fan, and he's Scottish.
Oh my God, you're such an idiot.
Welcome to episode 226 of Nerdery and Murdering.
Big 226. I'm Zig with your Nerdery.
And I'm Geoffrey with your Nerdery. Welcome to another week of the highs and lows, of the ups and downs, the good and the bad, and the nerd and the murd. All right, so as of today, when we're recording, I know that this episode comes out on 12/7, but I did a live episode earlier this week, and so everybody's heard it. But in case you never heard it, in case you're listening out of order or anything like that, as of today's recording, Prime Numbers, my book, releases on Friday, September 26th. I'm so excited.
Whoop, whoop.
It's available for pre-order on ebook now, but the paperback and hardcover are available on the 26th. Ebook's available on the 26th as well, but it can be pre-ordered now. But I'm stoked. I'm excited. If you're not following the Prime Numbers Facebook page, please do. I post a lot of things there. Character bios, pictures, just kind of my vision. I'm heading into Nervous Week now. I've got the nervous anxiety, like, are people going to like it? Because, we've talked about this on the show. Our goal here is to entertain. We want to entertain people. We hope you're entertained with the things we talk about, and that's our big thing. And if you're entertained, we've done our job. It's the same thing with Prime Numbers. I really hope it's entertaining. I hope people don't read it and go, wow, this really kind of sucks. That's my hope. But
This dude sucks. I don't think you're going to get that reaction.
I hope not. I hope not. But please do check it out. I've been talking about this for a year now, that I was in the writing process and the editing, and I've been saying it's coming. This week, finally, it is here for me, and I can take a breath. I am hard at work on the sequel. However, I don't know that I'm going to get any writing in this week because I'm just too stressed out. Hey, I told Zig a couple of days ago, I guess, it feels right now to me like when we released our first episode of Nerdery and Murdering. And, it's like, are people going to like this? Are people going to hate it? I haven't really had anybody that said they hated it. We have one friend, I won't call them out, that thought we were boring and didn't like it. Oh well, sorry.
Meh.
We've had a lot of fun with this, and we know we've got a lot of fans out there, people who listen every single week, new people all the time that are getting into the show. So anyway, so that's kind of where I am with the book, just in that nervous phase, ready for this to get out to the world. So please check it out. And if you do get the book, and we talk about this for our show as well, if you do get the book and you enjoy it, please leave a review. A 5-star review if you think it's great. 4-star, whatever. Hopefully I don't get 1 stars, but that's going to happen. Heck, Stephen King gets 1 stars.
Yeah.
Twilight got a lot of 1 stars, and it's popular as hell. I don't understand why, but whatever. I'm sorry, I hated Twilight. I hated it. I tried.
There's a market for everything.
There is. And this is cyberpunk science fiction. So if you don't like science fiction, you're not going to like the book.
Yeah, it's fantasy punk.
Yes. Some people call it lit RPG as well. There's some of that in there. But if you do check out the book, please do leave a review, because those algorithms all feed off those reviews, clicks and likes.
Anybody out there who's ever played an RPG and wondered what it would be like to be your character, that's what happens in this book.
That's what this book is about. Yes.
That's what this book is about.
We've got our friends in this book that we gamed with for 20 plus years every Sunday. We've talked about that in the show before as well. Everybody, including my illustrious co-host here, Zig, he's in there. Um, I talked with all of them before I even proceeded down this path. I said, "Here's what I'm wanting to do. I'm planning on publishing this. I'm writing this. I want to publish it. Do I have your permission to not only use you, but use your character and understand that I'm probably going to take some liberties?" The good thing is I played with these people for so long. I felt I really kind of had a really good idea of what their character would do and how they would react. So I know there's some liberties I took, but everybody in our group was like, yeah, do this."
Well, I mean, also, you took some liberties with the locations and stuff like
Oh
that because you
yes,
didn't want
oh
to get
absolutely.
sued.
No, I don't even want to talk about that.
Right on.
But yeah, so please do leave a review. Follow along, follow Prime Numbers, follow the Amazon page. You can find Prime Numbers on Amazon. You can follow it there as well, and all of those really help get it visibility to other people that may enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and if you're into lit RPG or cyberpunk or cyber fantasy, this should be right up your alley.
yeah,
If you like
yeah,
it, you'll dig the hell out of it.
yeah. It's funny. My boss is really into cyberpunk, and he's insanely interested in this.
You
So.
didn't let him know it's cyber fantasy, right?
Oh, he knows.
Cyberpunk. Okay,
He's
cyberpunk with
very
magic.
he's very well aware of what this is.
Okay,
So yeah, he's excited, which I think is great.
people all jacked up.
This was a very interesting week. We had a lot of rain this week, and it was so funny because 2 days, Friday and Wednesday, I think it was. Chelsea wasn't feeling really well, but her mother and I went out golfing, and we were with a couple of other friends. My friends Billy and Faith, they listen to the show.
Hi, Billy. Hi, Faith.
We got on the course, and it's like, I don't know if the rain's going to hold off or not. And we got all the way to five, and about halfway down five, hell came down, and just rain, 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 soaking wet, soaking wet. Friday, there was a threat of rain again, but it looked like it was heading south of us, so we played again, and almost the exact same place on hole five.
Same spot.
Hell came down again, and I mean, my mother-in-law and I were stuck under a tree for like 10 minutes, like, maybe this is going to stop. No, this is getting worse. We need to go. So it was just funny that it was the exact same spot that it happened a couple of days before. It was hysterical. And then last night, pardon me, I know my voice is a little crackly today. We had a luau that we went to last night that had karaoke at it. And those of you who've been listening to the show for a while have heard this. I love karaoke. Ziggy and I used to go to karaoke 6 nights a week in our 20s. And the only reason we didn't do 7 is because nobody in Fort Worth, Texas had karaoke on Mondays.
That's
Otherwise,
right.
we would have gone.
Yeah, I think we could have gone to like Dallas, but it was like, nah, don't
Yeah,
go that far.
yeah. No, we did not want to drive that far.
Besides, we needed to sleep.
Yeah, yeah. That Monday ended up being our days of recovery. But we had this luau last night and the karaoke, and it was so much fun. We had a blast. But the reason my voice is a little a little strained today, your poor host here, decided to go up with a group of guys, and we belted out "Don't Stop Believing."
Did you really?
Yes, and I'm sure it
How
was
high
terrible.
did you get?
That's why my voice is strained today.
What I thought.
I mean,
Don't try-
we were
Don't try to keep up with Steve Perry. Steve Perry
No.
can't keep up with Steve Perry.
no, and my throat is a little scratchy today. But it was
Did you get up there? Did you get close?
Oh, I don't know that I'd probably not. I don't think so. I couldn't really hear over everything, but so yeah, my voice is a little strained today. But it was so much fun. It was so much fun. This luau was great. Have you watched Daredevil Born Again?
Mhm.
Completely changing subjects now. We just finished episode 6 the other night, and that's the fight scene where Matt Murdock is fighting a guy and Kingpin is fighting a guy in two
Mhm.
different areas.
Mhm.
It is beautifully choreographed.
Yeah, like John
They're,
Woo shot it or something.
well, not only that, but they're basically both fighting the same way
Mhm.
against their opponent, and it cuts back and forth. And I mean, that had to be maybe I'm wrong, but I swear that was a 10-minute fight scene. Um, but I'm just watching it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible.
It, it harkened back to the scene where in the original
The
Daredevil
hallway
series,
scene.
you had the hallway going up the
Yes,
stairs, just
that's
fighting his way out of a building.
that's exactly what I was going to say. It took it right back to that because that's one of the I mean, and that was done. That hallway scene was one camera shot.
Hmm.
They never switched angles. It was one camera shot the whole way. Um, but yeah, I was so impressed with what they did with that fight scene. Like I said, it's episode 6. It's the very last scene in episode 6 of the two of them fighting in completely separate areas from each other. Amazing, amazing. I can't wait to finish this series, and they have already greenlit another season.
Good, good.
So
They should have never
very excited.
they should have never taken the Netflix shows off. I mean, I understand why they did. They want to get everything in house. I get it. I'm not besmirching them on that at all.
Hmm.
They got to you want to get everything in house so you can basically keep telling the story right.
Right.
I understand that totally. Um, not even from not from a financial stance, but from a
Continuity.
yeah, from a continuity stance. It's got to be like Star Wars book was back in the 90s. If
Hmm.
Yeah, you could totally write a Star Wars book, but you had to submit it to this group of people, and they went through it and went, no, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, because otherwise you're going to screw up the continuity. Because we got 3 other authors who are doing this stuff, and you can't do that to this character.
Right. Which is why I was always surprised that in Vector Prime, spoilers by the way, that they approved the death of Chewbacca.
Yeah.
I was very surprised about that. Vector Prime is the exact reason that I hate R.A. Salvatore. I know a lot of people like R.A. Salvatore. He's apparently a great writer of Dungeons and Dragons style fiction
Yeah.
and Dungeons and Dragons books because I know he does some of those. But
Drizzt and Icewind Dale and all that
yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
but
that's all him.
this was his dive into the Star Wars universe, and
And he killed off Chewbacca.
I didn't like Vector Prime.
Dropped a planet on him.
Yeah, Moon, if I remember
Was it a
right.
moon?
It was a
Yeah.
moon. So yeah, I was always really surprised knowing that those stories had to be approved by Lucasfilms to come out. So that one always really surprised me. So anyway, the last thing I had, I was going to ask you. You want to feel really old?
No, but go ahead.
The original Lost in Space debuted 60 years ago this month.
Oh, yeah.
60 years ago. Star Trek is about to be there.
Yep.
I was talking to our friend Keith about this exact kind of subject just the other day. I remember as a kid when my mom would drive around, she would listen to the Beatles in the car. We had an 8-track player,
Mm-hmm.
and she listened to the Beatles in the car. And I remember thinking in the 80s, feeling that the Beatles were old music. I loved them. I really liked them. But in the 80s, the Beatles were only 20 years old.
Yeah.
Now I sit here and think about all the 80s music I listened to. I'm sorry, it doesn't feel like 40 years ago
40 years
that
ago.
these songs were out.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. The Beatles were a product of their time. The Beatles sound like they're from the 60s. There's a lot, and granted, there's a lot of 80s music that sounds like it's all. As a matter of fact, I could think of a couple of songs, pop songs in the 80s that sound like they're 40 years old. But a lot of the really innovative stuff that we were listening to, I'm not even getting into indie. I mean, like Prince.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff still sounds brand new. The
Yeah.
kids are all into Prince
Yeah.
and Queen and you know some other new stuff. But yeah. So you know, I always hear the boomers say, "Well, you know, we had the best music." No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Not even
No, you didn't.
close.
Yeah. No, you didn't.
You guys didn't have Prince.
Awesome. Well, I don't have anything else. You got anything for us, or are you ready to step over to the nerdery side of the house?
I was gonna say it got cool enough to roast marshmallows last night. That was fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Although we didn't think it was going to be cool enough, so we didn't think to get chocolate, and so we were just eating roasted marshmallows.
Yep.
So yeah, we definitely need to for next weekend. I need to get supplies for s'mores
Sweet.
because that's going to be lit. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Take us away.
Today we're going to talk about Peter Capaldi as the 12th Doctor.
Nice.
As we said before, Doctor Who is a British science fiction television series broadcast by the BBC since 1963. The series was created by Sidney Newman, C.E. Weber, and Donald Wilson, and it depicts the adventures of an extraterrestrial being called the Doctor, part of a humanoid species called the Time Lords. The Doctor travels in the universe and in time using a time-traveling spaceship called the TARDIS, which externally appears as a British police box while traveling. The Doctor works to save lives and liberate oppressed peoples by combating foes. The Doctor usually travels with companions. The series is a significant part of British popular culture and has gained a cult following overseas. It has influenced generations of British television professionals, many of whom grew up watching the series. Fans of the series are sometimes referred to as Whovians. The series has been listed in the Guinness World Records as the longest-running science fiction television series in the world, as well as the most successful science fiction series of all time, based on its overall broadcast ratings, DVD, and book sales. Peter Capaldi is a Scottish actor, director, and singer and guitarist. He portrayed the 12th incarnation of the Doctor in the series, Doctor Who, from 2013 to 2017. And Malcolm Tucker in The Thick of It from 2005 to 2012, which he received a British Academy Television Award nominations, winning Best Male Comedy Performance. Capaldi won an Academy Award for Best Live Action Short Film and the BAFTA Award for Best Short Film for his 1993 short film, Franz Kafka's It's a Wonderful Life, which sounds hysterical. He went on to write and direct the drama film Strictly Sinatra in 2001 and directed 2 series of the sitcom Getting On. Capaldi also played Mr. Curry in the family film Paddington and its sequel Paddington 2, as well as the Thinker in The Suicide Squad in 2021. As an art student, he was the lead singer and guitarist in a punk rock band called the Dream Boys, whose drummer was future comedian Craig Ferguson. The pair also performed a cabaret act together as Bing and Dean Hitler and wrote an alternative pantomime of Sleeping Beauty. These years saw the rise of Capaldi to worldwide fame with his casting in the role of 12th Doctor in the BBC science fiction series Doctor Who. Now, I need to back up a little bit. Cabaret. This is for our American listeners because they probably have no idea. Vaudeville still exists in the rest of the world. It just doesn't really exist here. Occasionally, you'll get a musical that is a review of vaudeville, but we don't have like vaudeville. In England, it is perfectly acceptable and usual for people to go to a Christmas pantomime. What a pantomime is a cabaret show for kids. It's a vaudeville show. It's got people in costumes. It's got Mother Goose reading stories. There's music. There's dancing. There's plate spinning, and the kids all get happy and clap and everything. It's been going on for years. It still goes on. Cabaret usually it's not so much an English thing, but it's more of a continental European thing. What it is you go, it's basically dinner theater where people are putting on comedy shows or plays or skits or scenes and singing and dancing while you're having drinks and eating. It's basically a dinner theater, but it's not a single play. And again, we used to have that here, and I guess movies just kind of pushed everything off to that sort of thing off to the side. But it was pretty common here up until about 1960, and then it died out. So Craig Ferguson and Peter Capaldi did cabaret shows all over England and France. Since the first incarnation, or Peter Capaldi is the first incarnation to star as the Doctor and the third oldest to portray the character at the age of 56. So basically, when Peter Capaldi started, he was 56 years old. The only person who beat him out was John Pertwee. Oh my God.
Which
the first one.
Okay, Doctor One. There you go.
Yeah. The man's name is out of my brain.
Name too.
Yeah.
Sorry, here, you continue. I'll look it up.
Not Patrick Troughton, not John Pertwee, not Tom Baker. I can name the rest of them.
I got it. Oops. Keep going.
We did a show about him. I can't believe it. Again, the name just escapes me. Anyway,
I'll have it here in a second. William
Hartnell was the oldest. Capaldi only beat him by like a year or two.
And that's amazing to me because both Hartnell and Peter Capaldi, I don't mean to besmirch them, look older than they actually are.
Yeah. Yes. I just watched him in Lair of the White Worm the other day, which is a great little indie movie. It doesn't know if it wants to be a horror film or a comedy. And it's kind of weird, but it's a lot of fun. A lot of nudity too. So when I was a teenager, it was an indie film. It was English. There's a lot of nudity. There was a Scottish dude, and it was Peter Capaldi. And Peter Capaldi is actually naturally a ginger too, even though he wasn't a ginger in Doctor Who. Yeah, a lot of fun. But yeah, he looked like he was like 30 and he was like 20 in Lair of the White Worm. Capaldi stated that he had to seriously consider increased level of visibility that came along with the part. He had portrayed characters in Doctor Who before. He was cast as the Doctor. He was Lobus Casias in the Doctor Who episode The Fires of Pompeii. Really good in that. The following year, he played civil servant John Frobisher in the third series of the Doctor Who spinoff Torchwood. The start of 2013 saw Capaldi portraying the editor of The Guardian, Alan Rusbridger, in The Fifth Estate.
I'm sorry, pause real quick. Fifth Estate, please remember where you are. Did I see that Torchwood may be coming back?
They've been talking about it. Especially since Russell T. Davies took back over. He really loved Torchwood.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he came over here to do that last Torchwood bit. But they need to get on it because, oh my God, John Barrowman is starting to age. And the whole point of Captain Jack Harkness is he's immortal. Eventually he will become the face of Bo, but we don't know how that happens.
Yeah, no, they can de-age him. They de-age people all the time in movies now. All the time.
That's true. Plus, he takes really good care of himself, and he's one of those people. He has a youthful face anyway.
I mean, a perfect example. Look at Samuel L. Jackson in Captain Marvel. They de-aged him for that role.
Yeah, and he actually looked pretty good.
It was good.
I saw some scenes from the one with De Niro. I didn't even watch it because they bothered me somewhere. They de-aged him and Joe Pesci so much. I was like, they look like they have ink on their face.
Oh,
that cartoon character.
The one where they were a couple of mobsters.
Yeah, and they played them at different points in their life. It's fine.
That's funny. Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro. The one where they play a couple of mobsters.
Yeah, sorry.
That's like saying the Star Trek.
The Star Trek. You watching the Star Trek?
But anyway, bygone. Sorry, I thought I'd heard somewhere about Torchwood.
Yes, they're in talks about it again. Russell T. Davies loves Torchwood.
Gotcha.
Where was I? The Fifth
Uh,
Estate. Yeah, the Fifth Estate, which is a great novel, came out in the '90s. If you ever had a chance, you should read it. It's really great. Um, he also starred in Inside the Mind of Leonardo, a documentary about Leonardo da Vinci, and appeared as a World Health Organization doctor in World War Z. Capaldi also directed several episodes of BBC Four sitcom Getting On. He portrayed Cardinal Richelieu in an adaptation of The Three Musketeers on BBC One. Although it was like a year before he started Doctor Who, they were able to kill him off screen because they didn't want him to clash. You know, they didn't want his schedules to overlap. Because again, mostly Doctor Who is mostly filmed in Wales because of the way they set the agreement up back then.
mhm.
It was produced by BBC One and BBC Cymru or BBC Wales. So they film it in and around Cardiff. Matter of fact, they've got a whole studio up there set up just to do Doctor Who. And of course, they'll do establishing shots here and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's filmed there. So if you're filming in London and in Wales, it's a train ride. Granted, they do have long schedules, but for you and me, it wouldn't be that bad of a commute. But it's tiny little England. But they didn't want to have him, doing both those parts, so they killed him off in that show. Let's talk about Peter Capaldi for a minute. I just kind of want to riff. I just gave you guys a whole bunch of facts and figures. Peter Capaldi was the second person to portray Doctor Who as a fan. Now, David Tennant was a fan of Doctor Who and Tom Baker when he was a kid, as were most children in England in the 70s. Not that I'm commenting. The thing about Peter Capaldi is he was a little bit more than a fan. He was a super fan. He wrote letters into Doctor Who magazine. They published a bunch of treaties that he did and suppositions, almost like he was a scholar of Doctor Who. So Peter Capaldi, again, David Tennant's a pretty good fan. Peter Capaldi is a little bit more. Basically, Peter Capaldi was doing in the 70s what we're doing right now, but just for Doctor Who as a teenager. He got to meet all of them. He appeared in Doctor Who magazine dozens of times. So he was a big old super fan. And then he decided to do some cabaret, and he was in the punk band with Craig Ferguson, and he got into comedy, and then he got into acting. He had all this stuff going on. But still, the whole time, still a Doctor Who super fan. So when they approached him about this role, he already had an idea how he was going to play him. And his idea was he was going to play it more like, and again, thank you for the name, William Hartnell. He wanted to portray the Doctor as an alien because Matt Smith played the Doctor like a small child.
Mhm.
David Tennant played the Doctor like a human being. He was more of a human being than say some previous incarnations.
So, okay. Let me drop my 2 cents on that. I
Mhm.
thought that Tennant played him somewhat of an alien. But Tennant, who was phenomenal, we've talked about this before.
Mhm.
David Tennant played a very how am I going to put this? A very serious Doctor who was
Mhm.
very dedicated to the work he was doing, but he had a warmness about him as well.
Yeah.
And he did have some humor. Matt
Yes.
Smith was extremely childlike
Yeah.
in the way he portrayed the Doctor, and he was brilliant in it.
Mhm.
He played the Doctor who was a Doctor that was full of wonder about
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Curious about everything and very playful, even though
Mhm.
he could be very serious too, because the Doctor
Yeah.
always has their serious moments.
Yes.
Peter Capaldi, when we first got Peter Capaldi, part of the problem is he came out on the tail end of Matt Smith. He became the Doctor after Matt Smith.
Mhm.
David Tennant was insanely beloved.
Mhm.
Matt Smith was insanely beloved, even though a lot of people were upset. I hate the Tennant's gone. I'm not really sure I like this Matt Smith. But then Matt Smith became very, very beloved. Matt Smith, matter of fact, Matt Smith's Doctor was the first one that they would debut episodes in the theater.
Mhm. Yeah, there was
Um,
a big blitz because Doctor Who's always been big here, but it's always been big here underground.
mhm.
Um, David Tennant in his Tennant's tenure, it started to leach out of the underground.
Yeah.
So with Matt Smith, they made a concerted effort to
Mhm.
not make it underground anymore.
Yeah, because am I getting the episode right? Day of the Doctor was the big one that they put in the theaters, and it was
Yeah.
a huge
Yeah.
production thing. So then we get Peter Capaldi. I did not like Peter Capaldi for about 15 minutes.
The thing about Peter Capaldi, that's what he wanted. He played him that way. He wanted
Yeah.
people to have that jarring sense because again, as a super fan, to him, that is part of the process.
Right. And you and I talked about this,
Yeah.
outside of here before.
You're supposed to have a visceral reaction to it. And if you don't, it's part of the enjoyment of the series, is the way he views it. Does that make sense?
Oh, sure. But like Matt Smith, it probably took me about 2 or 3 episodes before I embraced him.
Mhm.
Peter Capaldi, literally, I think it was about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it's the first episode or not. It may be the second or maybe even third episode. I don't know. But I remember the exact moment where not only was I a Peter Capaldi fan, but I'm cheering for this character was when he rode in on the tank playing the guitar. I loved that scene, and that scene cemented Peter Capaldi as a great Doctor to me. He's wearing his sunglasses, which for his version of the Doctor is the sonic screwdriver.
Yep.
Are the sunglasses, which was brilliant. And then the thing I really really loved is most of Capaldi's run. Um, he had one of my top 2 or 3, maybe she may be top 2 companions in Jenna
Clara
Coleman.
Oswald.
Claire Oswald, yeah.
Yeah.
I loved that companion. I loved how strong she was and how much of a perfect partner to the Doctor she was.
Mhm.
The episode where she has to forget him
Mhm.
is heart-wrenching.
Yep.
Is heart-wrenching. Because I know there was so many companions in the past that when they went away, the Doctor was heartbroken. Um, the Claire Oswalt one, heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. You've got that episode that I think is one of the most brilliant episodes that they did, is the one where the Doctor is trapped in a tower for what, 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 years
Uh-huh.
trying to figure his way out. That's a
Yeah.
brilliant episode.
Yeah, and he had to get there the long way around is what
Yes.
is the way he explained it. Yeah.
Do you remember what it was? Was it like 100,000 years?
Yeah, something like that. 100,000 years. And he kept getting killed and regenerated. Or not
Yeah.
regenerated. It was a transmat. So it just, as soon as he got killed, it would remake him.
Yeah.
Like a transfer, like his pattern was still in the buffer of a transporter.
Right.
Yeah.
So I went through all that to say that, like I said, Peter Capaldi, it didn't take me very long at all to really, really think, man,
The
this
Night of
guy
the Doctor, I think, something like that.
Is that the one with the tank?
Yeah.
Which
Maybe.
episode? Which episode?
The where he has to go through the
No, I know, but what number in?
Oh my God.
because I had already started liking him, but it was that episode where it cemented that he is a brilliant doctor.
I thought it was a little further in.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Could
it was
be.
a little further in, but it takes place in and around Gallifrey. He did a lot of Gallifrey episodes too, which was nice. And went back to the war on Skaro, where he meets Davros as a child and saves him. It's like, oh. A lot of people gave the writer at the time a lot of shit because he was not only doing Doctor Who, he was also doing Sherlock at the same time. Mark, along with his writing partner Mark Gatiss, and again, nouns are killing me today. But so the problem was the releasing schedule for Doctor Who got all out of whack. There was a lot of shit going on too at the same time. So, you'd get a couple episodes and then you'd have to wait a while, and you get a couple episodes and you have to wait a while, and you might get one episode a year. I hope they finally got all that ironed out now. They seem to be getting back on track where they're actually doing, full seasons now. But a lot of people gave him a lot of shit because of, the scheduling, and they didn't like him because of this or because of that. I think that's BS. Some of the best writing was done under his tenure with Peter Capaldi. That was a big problem with Chris Chibnall taking over for the Jodie Whittaker period. The writing just wasn't strong. It was not nearly as strong as the stuff we got for Capaldi and Matt Smith and David Tennant and Chris Eccleston. It was weak in comparison. Now, I say that there are some fastballs in Jodie Whittaker's tenure. Thinking about the Rosa Parks episode or the Demons of Punjab. Those two episodes were incredible. But then you do the James Bond episode, which I don't even remember the name of it, where they're basically doing a James Bond thing. And it turns out it was just a doctor. A doctor had set it up and forgot about it. The premise was okay. It just wasn't properly executed, and it didn't run as well. It reminded me of those Peter Davidson episodes back in the 80s where they got a bunch of TV writers, which breaks my heart because Chris Chibnall was a major writer for Life on Mars, which I thought was an incredible show. We will do Life on Mars at some point. No, we haven't done it yet. And that show was pretty deep and multi-layered, but it seems like that when Jodie Whittaker came along, they didn't multi-layer their stuff except in a couple of episodes. And that's what made Capaldi so captivating to me. It wasn't just his portrayal, but it was the way the stories were layered. And if you could watch them fine, but if you're a fan of the previous series, the 1960s, 70s, and 80s series, there was even more layers and depths to it. Bringing back the Mondasian Cybermen, that would be a throwaway line to anybody who doesn't remember. The original Cybermen were Mondasian, not from a different universe. Mondas was a planet that was in geosynchronous or geo. It was exactly opposite of Earth at any given time. That's why we could never see it. It was always on the other side of the sun. Like, it was a twin planet of Earth, and they had decided to go cybernetic and move their planet around. That's how the Cybermen came along, and then of course, we don't have them in the new series until they bring them back as an alternate universe. But he actually runs into a ship full of Mondasian Cybermen, or where they're making the Mondasian Cybermen, and it's great. And because they're falling into a black hole, there's time dilation, so you get the entire evolution. And it's sad because you lose a companion about that time who gets basically converted into a Mondasian Cyberman. And the master's involved. It's really, really great. Matter of fact, if I was going to recommend one, I know we always try to recommend one, it would be that episode. I need to look up the title of that episode. Give me just a second.
1. There you go. You're done.
Oh no.
You've had your second.
World Enough in Time. World Enough in Time. It's also the first episode we get Missy in. World Enough in Time. Oh no. It's the first episode we get Missy and her former self. I think the only episode we get Missy and her former self. But it's called World Enough in Time. If I had to recommend a Peter Capaldi episode, it would be that one. On the 30th of January 2017, in an interview with BBC Radio 2, Capaldi confirmed that the 10th series would be his last. His final episode was the Christmas special, Twice Upon a Time, in which he was succeeded by actress Jodie Whittaker. His performance as the Doctor was widely praised, and his Doctor being characterized as one who started out rude and grumpy with a short fuse, but who grew and mellowed over time into the perfect embodiment of kindness and love. And I would like to say that that is probably an encapsulation of how Capaldi played it. And I think that was intentional. I think, yeah, I need to make him, because there's even in that last episode, he's there with William Hartnell, or William Hartnell's doctor. The two of them are there together,
Right.
Basically crossing timelines at the same time. And it's brilliant. Of course, you had other companions. You had Clara Oswald, Jenna Coleman, who we talked about, who was a school teacher. You had Bill Potts, played by Pearl Mackie. I love Bill Potts. Bill Potts is one of my favorite characters because she was like Donna. She traveled around with the Doctor because it was fun and it was cool. But honestly, she could also just go back home if she just needed. If this got too much, I'm just going. I'm leaving, which is eventually what happened. The alien Nardole, played by Matt Lucas, love Nardole. He also made guest appearances in the Doctor Who spinoff series Class, appearing in the show's first episode. Class was a series that took place at the Coal Hill School, where Jenna Coleman worked, and also where the TARDIS originally lived on Earth, because it was on Totter's Lane. Coal Hill School is where Susan went, and a couple of blocks up was 16 Totter's Lane, which was a junkyard that the TARDIS sat in, which is where Susan gave us her address, because she was a teenager and she wanted to experience what being a teenager was like in different points in history and in different planets. She just happened to be on Earth. She just happened to be followed by a couple of her teachers. And the Doctor's like, we've been here 6 months. Let's just leave. And when they left, the TARDIS, which was configured as a police box, which was a very common sight in 1963 in London, it got stuck that way. It is no longer stuck, by the way. It's been fixed. The Doctor just likes it that way. They're so used to it looking like a police box, they don't want it to look like anything else anymore.
Right.
But it can look like anything. That's the whole point. It's supposed to blend in with its surroundings. It's called a chameleon circuit. So if you're in a forest, it's going to look like a tree. If you're in the middle of a desert, it's going to look like a sand dune. If you're in the middle of a city, it's going to look like a small building or something small. But it can be as big or as small as it needs to be, because it's it's stabilized within. It's a pocket universe.
Right.
But yeah, I really enjoyed Capaldi's performance. Again, I even I hate to say it, I'm this guy. I actually like them all. Um, it's interesting to me to see how everybody plays it differently. There's some that I disliked when I first saw them, and upon rewatching, because I rewatch shit all the time. Um, but with Capaldi, when he came in, I'd already read up about him, and I knew him from The State, and then Lair of the White Worm and some other stuff. Um, so I knew he was a super fan. And coming in, I wanted to see what he would do with it, and I was not disappointed. The gruffiness, I was like, oh, great, he's gonna play it like an asshole. This is exactly what we need.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was going to be the whole time too.
Mhm.
You know, where he keeps some of that, it doesn't just stick the whole time. He's
No,
very good.
yeah, yeah, he's really good, and it was a conscious choice, um, right down to the costuming. He and the costumer were running around uh, Carnaby Street,
Hmm.
looking for like old stuff, and he's like, I gotta have Doc Martens, I gotta have skinny pants, and it'll be this, just like the same ones that Matt Smith wore. He's like, but I need a pressed white shirt. And he's like, and we can do a vest or not, but we need a jacket that no one's ever seen before. So they go to Carnaby Street, find the jacket, they bring it back, and they put a lining in it that's basically a galaxy picture. So the jacket is old, but it's been redone by the costume department. But a lot of the things that he did were conscious choice. The sunglasses is the sonic screwdriver. He's like, we need to turn this on its ear. It doesn't matter. The sonic screwdriver can look like anything. It's just
Right.
like the TARDIS. Um, and each one is, it's a scientific instrument. It's like a tricorder that is connected to the TARDIS. The glasses are just as easy to do that. Plus, Peter Capaldi's a hell of a guitar player. Does not hurt. He's also a good drummer too. But you know what? That's about it for Peter Capaldi. I've kind of fanboyed out on him a little bit, but I like what he brought to the role. Um,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, like I said,
I'm surprised it only took you 15 minutes to love on Peter Capaldi. I was really
it
worried
wasn't
that,
long. It
yeah,
wasn't
I was
long.
really worried that people who are used to David Tennant and Matt Smith, especially, well, I know you started with Chris Eccleston,
Right.
but the people who jumped in at David Tennant and then went to Matt Smith, I'm like, oh, this is going to ruffle some people's feathers. But again, it's part of the process. You're supposed to not like the next Doctor,
Hmm.
um, not hate them, but you're supposed to go, and then you're supposed to let them grow on you. That's again, as he sees it, and as I see it, and a lot of people, it's like you just watch them, and you let them you let you let them grow on you like a fungus, toe fungus. Yeah,
Yeah. And and he did. I mean, maybe I could be thinking wrong because it's been so many years now. It may, however many episodes it is with the tank, it may have taken me that long. I can't remember. I just remember not really liking him at first, but that's also how I was with Matt Smith. But I seem to remember liking Capaldi faster than I did with
mhm.
Matt Smith. Matt Smith took me a little while. And
Yeah,
and unfortunately for Matt Smith, as brilliant of an actor as Matt Smith is, his problem was he followed David Tennant,
hmm
and David Tennant was amazing. David Tennant's an incredible actor. If you haven't seen Jessica Jones season one,
hmm
he is worth it alone
yeah,
because he's absolutely brilliant and evil in that role.
oh yeah,
Um, but yeah, so Matt Smith had to follow David Tennant, and I think that hurt him at first for people accepting him as the Doctor. It took no time at all for me to like David Tennant over Eccleston. Nothing against Eccleston. I thought Eccleston was brilliant, but David Tennant was brilliant from day one,
hmm
scene one. Matt Smith took a little while. I just don't remember Capaldi taking me as long as I expected.
Yeah,
So
it took you. It didn't take you as long to like him. Well, and again, I think that was pre-planned. I think that was Peter Capaldi. It was a conscious choice. It's like I need to play this guy as an asshole for
yeah,
for the first half of the episode, and then make him soft.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, fucker threaded the needle perfectly.
I love the episode where he was uh, impersonating a professor at college. I think that episode is brilliant. He's just so good. And like I said, the episode where he's stuck in the tower for I think 100,000 years, I think is what it eventually
Yeah,
is one of the most brilliant Doctor Who episodes you'll ever see. It's I'm saying this, but not really. It's kind of scary at times.
yes,
It's very troubling at times.
yeah,
It's very you get very sympathetic towards the Doctor at times. I mean, you
yeah.
go through all the
It's
range of
tragic.
emotion. It's
It
very
is
tragic.
tragic. It's
Yeah,
very tragic.
forewarning. It's a tragic episode. Forewarning. But it's also very brilliantly done. So awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love our talks with the Doctor. Unfortunately, we're coming to a close on that. Depending on how long
Yes,
it takes us to get to the next one, we might have
yeah,
the next Doctor after that, but we're coming to the end. But um, that's been great. I mean, we've been going through these various iterations of the Doctors for the entire run of our show.
yes.
So really, really cool.
Hellbent. The name of that episode is Hellbent.
Hellbent. Really,
Mhm.
really cool. Thank you for all that.
Sure.
With that, we'll step over to the murdery side of the house.
Murder.
For today, I got my information off NBC News, Medium, Taos News, the Santa Fe, New Mexican News, and this is the story of the disappearance of Melissa Casias.
The disappearance of Melissa Casias.
You know, we've done a lot of disappearances of various people over time, and some of them are just, well, I say some of them. All of the disappearances are just weird
Mhm.
because we talk about, especially in this day and age, how difficult it is to disappear off the face of the planet.
Yeah, it's not like the 1920s or 30s.
No, no,
You could
not
go
at
pick
all.
up or hell, even up until the 80s, you could go pick up and live a different life someplace else if you were smart enough.
Yeah, it's insanely hard today with your digital footprint.
Mhm.
You literally have to leave everything behind in order to disappear. Credit cards, you have to go by cash only. You can't have a bank account where you're drawing
Mm-mm.
money. I mean, you would have to have cash in a case that you can use, and even that becomes problematic because most places have security cameras now.
Mhm.
Everybody is a digital photographer now. You'd have to stay out of the out of range of somebody's camera who might just be snapping a picture
Oh my God.
as you're walking by.
The technology for cameras has increased so much in the last 10 years.
Yeah,
Right now, you can take a picture with your phone that is better quality than a $20,000 camera was 10 years ago.
sure,
Just 10
sure.
years ago.
Now, yeah, in saying that, and our producer will tell you this, there is no camera phone in existence today that will equal the quality of a professional camera of
No.
today. They come close, and you can get some really, really good pictures.
Yeah. Of
But
today.
but a professional camera today will still take way, 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 way better pictures. Pictures that you can take and blow up into these huge posters, and they still look great. If you take a picture from your camera phone and try to blow it up into a huge poster, it's going to get grainy.
Yeah.
If you keep it small enough that you can see it on a screen and as part of a screensaver or a little picture or whatnot, that's one thing. So yeah, these disappearances get really weird, and some of them we've covered have been within the last 10 to 20 years. This one was this year,
What?
and it's very, very, very recent. And the fact that Melissa Casias has just disappeared off the face of the planet is incredible. So like I said, it's still new, it's still fresh. This case is very open, very active, and I've talked enough about these disappearances that I get to a point where I know the difference between noise and signal.
Hmm.
The Melissa Casias case had both.
Oh
Um,
wow.
this was a small northern New Mexico town. She was a beloved mom with no obvious enemies, and a timeline for this that really, at first glance, seems very simple. But then you kind of start tugging at the threads. There's a locked door, a car, phones wiped clean, and a final shot of a woman walking along a state highway with a backpack and a quiet look. And that's kind of where the story really kind of starts to bend. As we talk through this, we take a very careful walk, and I'm going to talk about what we know, what we don't, and see if we can kind of explain the space in between.
Holy crap, she was a bow hunter.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my God. So she knew how to make it out in the wilderness too.
yes, yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
So she's 53 years old, 5'4", about 115 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. She, I say works, but worked at this point at the Los Alamos National Laboratory. Her husband, Mark, also works there. Friends and family described her as very steady, very warm. As Zig said, she's a bow, she's an archer. She did archery competitions on the weekends, and she showed up for people when they need them. She's got tattoos that mark various periods in her life. She's got a dragon on the right ankle, a dream catcher on her left shoulder, and a bow and arrow on her left arm. So this really isn't the profile of someone looking to disappear. If you believe the people that knew her best, they all said she had plans the weekend she went missing, which was a lake trip. She had also planned to help her mother through a knee surgery the following week. And really overall, this whole case tracks somebody with a life in motion, not somebody that's looking to retreat from it. And all these details were reported by NBC's Dateline and local news outlets that have stayed on this story day after day after day, and it's still going on. So the day was June 26th, 2025, and it started like many weekdays did for the Casillas family. Before sunrise, Melissa drove Mark to work up to the lab and dropped him at his building around 6:15 a.m., which was a regular weekday routine. Mark said she told him she was headed to another location on site to finish a task she had, and then she'd bring the car back to him about 11 a.m. that same morning. This is where things start to get muddy. Mark says he believes he saw her swipe in. So the claim that we'll talk about later that she forgot her badge kind of sits off center on this. And that's a discrepancy that's kind of part of the things that investigators are having to sort out. Around 7:45 a.m., Melissa stepped back into the family's Rancho de Taos home. Their daughter Sierra heard the door, found Melissa in the kitchen. Melissa said she forgot her badge. Again, this is where we were. And that she would either work from home or she would call out for the day. Sierra said that nothing in her voice set off any alarms. When Sierra left for work, they hugged each other, said, "I love you." And, these are the kind of things that's a very small exchange, but it becomes very landmark when someone goes missing. At approximately 12:50 p.m., Melissa brought a Subway sandwich to Sierra at her job in Taos Plaza. And this was kind of the point where when I was researching, I'm like, wouldn't Mark have noticed she didn't bring the car back? Because she said 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Or did she tell Mark she wasn't coming back after all? I wasn't clear on that for a
Yeah.
while.
Well, and he
Um,
might not be either. You know what I
well,
mean? When
and
someone
I'll get there.
disappears, it
I'll
might.
get there. I'll
Yeah.
get there because you're where I was in this story.
Mhm.
Or did she bring the car back and now she was on foot? This part's going to come into play as well.
Yeah.
Sierra gave Melissa her check to deposit and said goodbye. Melissa then left. Security cameras at nearby shop caught her walking by. There was no dramatic scene, no sign of distress. It was just another afternoon and a mother running errands. This was the last time Sierra would see her mom. So what happens next is what really carries weight in this case. Around 2:15 to 2:18 p.m., there was a family acquaintance that spotted Melissa walking along New Mexico 518 near Talpa, heading east towards Pot Creek, which was a few miles from her home.
Mm-hmm.
There was a local utilities surveillance camera which captured a woman who matched her build and clothing, light colored shirt, blue jeans, and light colored shoes moving along the shoulder. So that's kind of where I now come back to the car. Maybe she took the car back to Mark after all and is now on foot. Again, a little
Yeah,
more
she's a
on that
hiker,
later.
so I mean, if she's only going a couple of miles, that might not be a, you know what I mean?
Maybe, but I kind of kept coming back to this car situation. There were some reports that she had a backpack with her. And when you talk about grainy video footage, you can't read emotion into it. And
Yeah.
so the state police did say it's difficult to tell whether or not she appeared distressed. Um, but if that is Melissa, it puts her on foot alone in the heat of the day in New Mexico, June, moving away from home.
Yeah.
So that's a very strong posture for someone who's choosing distance, and it's kind of risky for someone trying to get back. Again, at this point, where is the car? It is June in New Mexico. It is
Mm-hmm.
entirely too hot in June in New Mexico to be walking around, especially long distances.
Oh, yeah. I was just looking up the heat and census data and stuff. So it's um, basically Taos County is where all this is occurring,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Okay.
So by late afternoon, the family started to worry. There were calls from Mark to Sierra. Text to Melissa showed as read, but then one failed to deliver. Sierra got very nervous. She rushed home about 3:30 p.m. The front door was locked.
Mm-hmm.
Car I keep worried about, was sitting
Mm-hmm.
in the drive. So here we go.
Okay.
Car's in the drive, so she didn't take it to Mark. So now
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to why didn't he question where she was since she said she would have it back at 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
It's late in the afternoon, so surely Mark would have tried calling before now. And again, since she promised to bring the car back at 11 o'clock. That's where I sat as I went through this story. He did try to call her.
Okay.
When 11 a.m. passed, Mark figured Melissa got busy at work, but then her boss
Yeah.
called in the afternoon and asked if Melissa was okay, and that's when Mark found out she wasn't at work. So he tried calling, but there was no answer. He texted Sierra at 1:30 p.m. and asked her to try to contact Melissa. And Sierra did text, and she said that she could see that Melissa read the text, but then thought nothing further of it. Those of you who don't know, if you've never paid attention, you can see in your text when somebody's read it, as long as they have that, they haven't turned that off, because you can turn it off.
Yes.
But there is a little logo which basically shows you it's been read. So in this particular case, they could tell when Melissa had read it, but Sierra didn't think anything further of it. But
80s to 90s in June.
hot,
They are kind of high up.
it's hot,
Yeah, it's hot.
humid.
It's not like here hot, but yeah.
No. Around 2:30 p.m. is when Sierra tried to text her again, and this is the time that the text did not deliver. Inside the house, Melissa's keys and work phone were on the kitchen table. She checked her office and her purse, wallet, personal phone, cash, and the check Sierra had handed her earlier in the day was on her desk. Both phones, her personal and her work phone, had been reset to factory settings. So was this an effort to wipe them clean? That's not nothing.
No.
Someone took the time to try to wipe out the digital trail.
Uh-huh.
So Mark made the decision to report her missing at 5 p.m. The New Mexico State Police took the lead, and they've kept every door open, walkway, foul play, accident, and they said it straight. From the fact gathered so far, it appears she may have left on her own, but nobody is in the clear. This is good police work. You don't lock in early to one thing. You also don't ignore working theory when evidence leans that way, and that's the walk away.
Yeah.
Search teams did move in fast in the first days. Taos Search and Rescue swept the shoulder and drainage along New Mexico 518 between New Mexico 68 and Forest Road 437. There was a joint operation with the Sheriff's Office, New Mexico State Police, volunteers, and a medevac helicopter that hit 3 properties on the edge of Talpa.
Mhm.
Canine units from the Sandia search dogs and civilian drone pilots covered an estimated 283 acres of Carson National Forest, streams included, on both sides of the highway. The family drew up maps, rallied the local hunting and archery community in which Melissa was a part of, and brought out more than 100 volunteers to walk the desert brush. So this was a full court press deal, but it had limited payoff. There was no confirmed trace beyond the camera hit on the 26th, which is the day she went missing. There was a rumor about a blue Dodge truck following Melissa on New Mexico 518 that circulated. The family said that state police tracked the vehicle and interviewed the driver. And according to her niece, Jasmine McMillan, investigators determined Melissa did not get in that truck and cleared the tip. But even so, police told reporters they still consider it possible that she got into a vehicle after the last camera sighting. And what that tells me is detectives don't want a single rumor to just box them in, but they
Yeah.
also won't close the door on a plausible route of travel or method of transportation away from the area. Inside the home, those reset phones pose a problem, but clue
Yeah.
at the same time. It may cut down what digital forensics can retrieve, but resets do leave their own timestamp and artifact, which can help determine when the wipe occurred and by who. If the phones were signed into any cloud accounts, there may be remnant breadcrumbs. If not, they have to lean harder on old-fashioned work, canvas interviews, camera pulls, credit and bank logs, license plate readers, and cell tower dumps around the last sighting window. Reports suggest that investigators have worked on that while fighting off misinformation that circulates in the very tight-knit communities where fear over this can stand in for facts. And then there's another threat: stress. After Melissa vanished, this is interesting. Mark and Sierra had found signs that she was facing serious financial pressure. There was a car crash settlement for Sierra that didn't land as expected, and bills were piling up. They said there was a lot crumbling down on her that they didn't know about. So what I took from this, she obviously handled the bills, and Mark and Sierra didn't know how bad their financial situation was.
Oh no.
And this is very sensitive ground because families often learn about hidden burdens only after a crisis opens the door. But it doesn't prove motive. It just adds context to a possible voluntary walkaway theory. When you talk about cases like this, a clear timeline is extremely crucial. So here's the details. 6:15 a.m., Melissa dropped Mark off at Los Alamos Labs, where she said she'll finish a task elsewhere on site and return the car at 11. At 7:45 a.m., she returned home, tells Sierra she forgot her work access badge and will work from home or call out. 12:50 to 12:57, she drops lunch to Sierra off at the South Plaza. Cameras do capture her walking nearby. Between 2:15 and 2:18, a family acquaintance and surveillance video placed a woman who looks to be Melissa walking eastbound on New Mexico 518 near Talpa. At 3:30 p.m., Sierra returns home where she found the doors locked, car in the driveway, keys and work phone on the kitchen table, purse, wallet, personal phone, cash, and her check in Melissa's office. Both phones have the factory reset. And then at 5 p.m., Mark reports her missing. So this sequence leaves a 2-hour gap between the lunch drop and the highway sighting. That window of time can hold a lot. The bank
and we don't know if the highway sighting is actually her either.
Correct. They're theorizing that it is.
Yeah.
The check was not deposited at the bank. At home, all of her belongings were found there. Did she just go for a walk? Did someone give her a ride? There's really no confirmed movements during that block of time, which is really kind of where cases like this hinge, that missing time. And we've talked about missing person cases where the simplest explanation turned out to be true. There's been cases where a clean timeline masked a very big mess underneath it all. But here are the working theories. Voluntary walkaway. State police have said the facts point that way. The last known image suspected to be of her shows her walking with a purpose. The phone's reset, the belongings left, the car parked, the door locked. She wore a backpack, which suggests planning. Family reports the financial strain. Um, this theory doesn't require criminal contact, only a personal decision to step away. People
Yep.
do it, even
Yep.
when they have deep roots.
It happens.
But the counterpoints of this are strong. She had planned a lake trip the next day. Her mother
Mm-hmm.
needed help after surgery. There was no note and no direct message to Mark or Sierra.
Mm-hmm.
Many people who intend to leave at least leave a sign for their closest family or friends. Not always,
Nope.
but it happens.
Or they'll leave it with one person and not everybody else.
Right. The next theory is third-party involvement, the highway sighting, and this comes up whenever someone on foot goes off the grid near a roadway. Could someone have coaxed her in their car, offered help, or done worse?
Yeah.
There's the blue truck that looks like a dead end. Police tracked it and cleared it, according to the family, but that doesn't rule out another blue vehicle.
Yeah.
Police have told reporters they still consider that possible, but without a plate read, a clear camera hit, or a witness who saw a pickup, speculation, but it's not far-fetched. It just keeps the investigative case open. Next theory, accidental harm. It is rugged terrain in New Mexico.
Yes, it is. They're right at the edge of the mountains, man. There's a lot of buttes and arroyos and
people
rock slides.
People underestimate how quickly land can swallow somebody up, because this one has thick brush and steep slopes.
Yep.
Researchers did cover a lot of ground along New Mexico 518 and into Carson National Forest, including streams. They use dogs and drones, and they help, but they don't guarantee coverage.
No.
If she cut down a forest road or onto private land, a slight misstep could lead to a bad fall, and there was no line of sight from the air.
Yeah.
This theory,
and you can't always see those dry creek beds.
Right.
Especially if they're in heavy brush.
Right.
You just be walking along, it looks fine because basically the brush is covering it, and you don't realize that the creek bed that you're about to step into, that's not brush, that's the tops of small trees, and you just drop.
Right.
It is very, very easy if you're not used to that. No, but it seems like she's an outdoorsy type.
Yes, and that's where this theory kind of weakened, because
you'd think she'd be looking at her feet.
She is outdoorsy. She was a hiker. The last image placed her on a paved shoulder, not off the trail.
Yeah.
And because her car remained out at the house, this is still possible.
Yeah.
Next theory is a staged disappearance. There's the phones that were wiped, keys left in sight, the door locked. It's not impossible that somebody set the scene to look like Melissa walked away.
Yeah.
But if that was true, you'd expect inconsistencies, like a disturbed entry point, odd prints, trace evidence that says there was a struggle or a second actor. Nothing is known that points that way, and police haven't signaled it. So this one sits kind of low on their list without any strong indicators.
Yeah.
Potential mental health crisis. Families mentioned concern for Melissa's mental state. There was the hidden stress, and that can break someone.
Yes, it can.
Sometimes somebody takes a walk to clear their head, and sometimes that walk becomes a crossing point in their life. This concept is very closely related to the walkaway theory, but it frames it more as an abrupt break versus a planned exit. So you have to use a lot of care here. We don't know her private state. We do know that there was stress layered across her life, and that she hid it well, according to Mark and Sierra. The last theory is domestic harm or intimate partner involvement. Statistically, you can't dismiss the person closest to who was missing.
Cannot.
But you also don't assign blame without evidence. Police did question Mark for hours and seized his phone. That's very standard, and he cooperated. And he's not been cleared, but he's also not named as a suspect. The timeline does put him at work waiting for a ride. Family accounts do, though, place him out of pocket during the key hours. However, this theory lacks a lot of credible facts, so it's just a theory.
Yeah.
When you take a closer look, there's a few details that really kind of shape the case. The phones, this is a big one. Factory resets matter. A reset sequence on iPhones and Androids take access and time.
Mhm.
If the reset happened while Melissa was out of the house, someone else had to have physical access. If they happened before she left for the highway, it points to a more controlled exit.
Mhm.
Investigators will have the device's image to grab any time step they can. If the reset occurred after 12:57 p.m. and before 2:18 p.m., you got a very tight window that's choreographed.
Yeah.
If
And
it
I'm assuming
happened during,
they're not releasing that information.
they haven't as of yet.
Yeah.
If the wipe happened earlier in the morning, then it would have read as premeditated. So we're kind of still waiting on that.
Yeah. They may not want to
Um,
tip their hand if they know that.
the locked door is another point. People often forget to ask what door and what lock. Was it a deadbolt or a handle?
Mhm.
If a deadbolt was thrown from the inside and there's no sign of a key on the table for that deadbolt, then someone with a key relocked the door from the outside.
Yeah.
If it's a simple knob lock and the key was visible with the work phone, Melissa could have walked out, pulled the knob to lock behind her, and left the key on the table earlier.
Yeah.
All the articles I read mentioned that the door was locked, but not how. This is a very small distinction, but it
Well,
can tilt theories.
and also, in some cases, yes, I can lock this door and then go out the other door and lock it behind me too. There's also that idea.
Right.
You
We
know.
just don't have those details. Those haven't been
Yeah.
released. Because again, this is a very, very recent case.
Yeah, yeah. And again, they may not be wanting to tip their hand.
Exactly. The backpack is another point. Sierra believed that the backpack held some very small personal items like her toothbrush and her hair iron. And this
Mhm.
is the kind of thing that you grab if you plan to be out overnight or longer. It's
Mhm.
not heavy, it's enough for a day or two, but it also might not be anything more than a work bag. But it
Mhm.
does pair with the resets and a walk along the highway, it leans towards an intention.
Mhm.
The money, cash was left at the house along with her wallet and purse. And if someone has to run, again, we talked
They
about
need
this right at the beginning of the
cash.
show, you need cash.
You need
If
cash.
someone plans to cross a line and start fresh, they hide cash earlier or they rely on help.
Unless you've been throwing money into an account that nobody knows about. But that would have taken months of premeditation.
But an account is traceable.
Yeah.
We would have had something by now. If there was an account that was in her name, even if
Mhm.
it was hidden and she was hiding money in that, there would have been traces of that by now.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they
We,
they would have they would have said, "Hey, she's got a secret account."
as far as I can tell, there were no accounts with any such activity.
Oh my God.
Um, bank and credit cards have their own story to tell, but there's been no financial action since June 26th, which supports either foul play or off the grid assistance.
Mhm.
The last mile is the last key, and that's the highway, New Mexico 518 between Talpa and Pot Creek Winds, which winds through mixed country homes, shops down by the plaza, and then more open stretches. It was daylight. Summer day gives you long sight lines. If a
Mhm.
stranger snatched her there, you'd expect a witness or tire marks near her shoulder. If a known person met her, they could have parked up a side road out of any camera view. And police say the possibility of getting into a vehicle is still on the table, but without a video plate or a second camera hit, this remains an open question. Um, Cases like this break families down, but they,
Yeah.
they they break them down into two contradictory truths. One side believes she wouldn't walk away. They point to her plans, her bond with her daughter Sierra, her mother's
Mhm.
medical needs. This is a routine that shapes your life. The
Yeah.
other side reads stress. The reset bones, the backpack, and the quiet exit is a sign that she needed air. Both sides love the person and both want her home, but this friction does show up in quotes and statements from the family as you read through the articles. This is very human. It doesn't mean they're at odds. It just means they're reaching for something to grasp onto because they have
Yeah.
no answers. Um, the community responded very quickly to the first call. Volunteers pounded the dirt with maps on their phones. And in the New Mexico sun, the archery and hunting crowd drove in from hours away.
Mhm.
This tells you who Melissa was to them. The people show up. Reporters in Santa Fe and Taos have kept the case in the headlines, which really matters because cases like this can fade when nothing breaks. There are two rewards out there. Crime Stoppers has put up $2,500 for tips per local reporting. The family has offered an additional $5,000 for information that leads to a safe return. Um, Either way, money's not going to heal the worry, but it
Mhm.
might shake loose a witness who's been sitting on a fence.
Yeah.
When we talk about these kind of disappearances, we can really treat them like puzzles, big fat pieces, and we pat ourselves on the back when something clicks.
Hmm.
But this one kind of resists all of that. The pieces all fit kind of in two or three different ways, and each one with a different picture from the box. When someone like Melissa goes missing, it really, really tests how we perceive each other and how we manage our stress in homes. It talks about how we listen when a person says they're fine, but they're carrying a burden that could split themselves mentally. Um, Melissa Casias is really more than just a timeline, a surveillance clip. She's a mother, a wife, she's a daughter. She had a life. If
Hmm.
she walked away to breathe, that's her right. That's her path.
That's
And I
right.
hope she finds herself and she sends a sign.
Yeah.
If someone hurt her, we need to know. The
Yes.
family needs to know. Either way, this is the type of case that asks something of all of us. Pay attention to the people in your life and give them room to speak.
Hmm.
Without leads into this case, the search efforts could lose steam, and that's the hard truth. The longer someone's disappeared, the more the case goes colder and colder and colder. Investigators are going to continue to work the case, pulling together camera footage farther along New Mexico 518. They're cross-checking license plate reader data hits from state police cars, reviewing bank and employment records, and examining the digital traces that may have pointed to a new life that she may have chosen or not. They're going to revisit interviews and they'll run down fresh tips and recheck old ones that didn't make sense on day 3, but they might now on day 30, day 40,
Yeah.
if this was a voluntary exit, we may see contact with a loved one
Yeah.
once the pressure eases.
Once
If
the heat's
this
off.
Yeah, if this was a crisis, we really hope that somebody recognizes her and makes a call. If this was criminal, forensics evidence, digital, financial, or physical, at the surface.
Yeah.
They say the desert keeps secrets, but not forever. Um, Mark and Sierra, they believe Melissa left voluntarily due to the personal and financial struggles Melissa was having. The other family members disagree with them. Um, Really, for those of us out here, everybody who's listening, you have a very simple assignment here. If you drove New Mexico 518 between on June 26th between 1:30 and 3 o'clock, think back. Did you pass a woman in a light shirt and jeans about 5'4" with a backpack? Did you see a car pulled on the shoulder near Talpa or Pot Creek with the door ajar and maybe the hazards on? Did your dash cam record that stretch? One image can change the course of this case.
That's true.
Just one. Mark said on NBC News that he wanted to share a message directly with Melissa in the case she was reading this article, and I'm going to say this quote in case she happens to be listening. But Mark said, "It is okay. We can solve any problem that might be there. We can solve it all. Come back. Just communicate with us, and I'll go get you wherever you're at. I don't care if you're across the world. I'll go get you, and this too shall pass." As of early September, state police have reported that they've had no breakthroughs in the case. If you know anything about where Melissa went after 2:18 p.m. on June 26th, please pick up the phone. The smallest detail could be the one thing that brings her home. The New Mexico State Police request that tips be reported to 505 425 6771. You can also contact Albuquerque Metro Crime Stoppers at 505-843-STOP, STOP. Those tips can be anonymous. Um, you know, Families remember the names of people who were involved years after a case are closed. They hold on to these people because it means someone else carried a piece of their burden for a moment. Please help here.
Mhm.
Um,
If you see something, Say something.
Oh, absolutely. This is another one of those disappearances that just bake my noodle. How in this day and age could someone just disappear off the
Yeah,
map?
again, it's not the 1980s,
Right.
or the 1970s. You can't do this anymore.
Now, this would be
Yeah,
more unbelievable if Melissa still had her phone on her, but we
yeah,
know she didn't.
yeah.
But as I said, this is the time where everyone is an amateur camera person, news reporter, and sleuth. Someone saw something. Please call and speak up. And that's the case of the disappearance of Melissa Casias.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that.
Um, this was a very, very interesting case to me, especially as new as it is. I think the only one that we ever did that was newer than this was Gabby Petito,
Hmm.
as we were covering that one based almost
It was still
live as it
going
was
down.
going
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
But this one is too. I mean, we're recording here on September 21st. She disappeared on June 26th. It's not even 3 months ago yet. Close. Just within days of it. I got to believe that there's got to be something. There's got to be something. People do not just disappear. They just don't. There has to be a scene. But as far as I'm a know, as far as I know,
As
Bryce
far as you know,
there's been no evidence of Bryce Lapecia. There's been no more evidence of Sierra Joggin.
Mhm.
Was it Sierra Joggin? No. I'm thinking of the wrong person. God, I'm stupid.
Yeah, we've done like 200 of these, man. It's all right. Yeah, we've done 225 as of this one.
Well, I don't want to say Sierra Jog because Sierra Jog was a whole different case. I gotta look it up real quick because
Okay.
there's one particular one I'm thinking of that was a disappearance and it was so famous. But Zig's right. We've done so many of these cases, but some of
The
these
names start to
names
run together.
some of the names absolutely do. But this was a disappearance from a college campus, and her name was, I'm so sorry, Samantha Speary.
Samantha Speary. Yeah.
Samantha Speary. You know that these people just disappear. We had Michelle Harris that just disappeared. Molly Dadlow that disappeared. Um, we talked about Denise Flum. Who else in here? There was the Sauter children disappearance. That was a wild case.
Yeah. Back in the
Um,
40s.
yeah, just back in the 40s, I can see somebody just disappearing. This woman disappeared in June of 2015 or 2025. Excuse me, 2015, 2025. Just bakes my noodle. So, anyway, sorry. Um, that's my story for this week. That will take us to the end of another recording week. As always, you can find more about us on nerderymurder.com. That's our hub. That's our website. That's our where we put links. We put pictures. More information about the show. And you will also find the link to our YouTube page, which Zig so often updates.
Yeah, go ahead and check this one out. I don't have full episodes, but I've got a bunch of great scenes with Capaldi being Capaldi.
Is Doctor Who still on Max? Is that where it's out now?
It's on
Or is it?
Disney. Well,
Oh,
okay.
Disney's out.
Okay. All right. It is still on Max up through Jodie Whittaker.
Okay.
Everything after Jodie Whittaker is now on Disney.
Gotcha. Okay. Check those out.
Yeah.
Doctor Who is phenomenal. We've talked about that time and time again.
And BritBox has everything 1989 and back.
Awesome.
Yep.
There's a partnership now with I think it may be Max and BritBox.
Okay.
Or is it Stars and BritBox? It may be Stars and BritBox. Anyway, there's some sort of deal out there, but I'm not advertising for them, whatever, unless they want to advertise with us. There you go. Bygones.
Yeah.
You can also find the link to our merchandise page on our website. If you wish to show off your Nerdery Murdery fandom, please do consider something from there. You'll also find the link to our Patreon. Our patrons, as well as people who purchase our merchandise, do go to the costs that are associated with the show. It helps us, helps others find our, find us. They might see the Nerdery and Murdy logo and say, "Hey, what's that?" And
What the hell is that?
decide to listen. But we do appreciate everybody who purchases merchandise and our patrons. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you. One other thing you can do, it's completely free to you and only takes a minute or two, is you can leave a 5-star review wherever you can. It really helps us and helps others find our content that may be looking for the information we talk about. And last, but certainly not least, to my good friend Chuck. Time to go to sleep now.
Good night, Chuck.
Good night, Chuck. With that,
I have been Zig with your nerdery.
and I'm Geoffrey with your murdering.
Cue the music.